Hello, and welcome to another Rangroo's Unit of the Week. And today we're taking a look at the A-19 122mm howitzer. The A-19 was a pre-war Soviet heavy howitzer. It was introduced into the Red Army in 1935 and production would end in 1939, with just under 500 models being built, because by that time the M1931/37 would end up, replacing the A-19. The A-19 would see service during the Battle of Kharkov Gol, the Winter War, and of course the entirety of Operation Barbarossa, as a heavy howitzer used for blowing up heavy fortifications. Now, of course, it could be used as an anti-tank gun, as they were issued with armor penetration shells. It wasn't an ideal anti-tank gun, due to just how big it was. It was a pain in the ass to move about a gun of its caliber, and also just the size and definitely length of the barrel would not make it an easy gun to hide. And of course, famously, this gun would be the gun that would be mounted into the IS-2 tanks. In-game, the A-19 122mm is a 105-point howitzer available exclusively to the 84th Guard Infantry and 9th Guard Cavalry. And it has one big weapon. So, we got 3 ammunition types. Firstly, we have armor penetration shells with 4 shots, we have 36 high explosive shells, and 10 smoke rounds. So, for the AP shells, this is the IS-2 gun. It will blow up any tank that it comes up across. It's a pretty powerful gun, but you only have 4 shots with it, so you need to make it count. The high explosive shells is pretty standard for a heavy howitzer of its caliber. It does the same high explosive compared to the other 122mm howitzer that the Soviets have. It's pretty good high explosive damage and suppression. It will blow up a lot of stuff. May not blow up tanks, but it's a possibility to blow up other light vehicles if you're shooting it. And definitely anything that's soft-skinned is not going to enjoy being shot at. And then you have 10 smoke rounds, useful for, laying down smoke. Up down to the miscellaneous stats, this thing does have a radio, which is pretty useful. Has a 6-man crew, normal optics, bad stealth, and heavy cargo space. In battle, the A-19 is, it's another big bloody artillery gun. There's a lot of big bloody artillery guns in this game. There are bigger, of course, there's definitely bigger. But for 105 points, this 122mm gun is pretty bloody useful. Because for a gun of its caliber, you can pretty much knock out the majority of targets that you're going to shoot. And the nice thing is that unlike a lot of Soviet artillery, this thing has a radio, meaning that you can call in some pretty accurate strikes. The issue is, your other dudes don't have radios for the most part, so you either have to spend the money actually buying artillery observers or artillery leaders, or you're just going to be inaccurate. It's just kind of the Soviet way when it comes to artillery guns. Now, of course, heavy artillery like this can be really hit or miss, and I'm not saying that just for a joke, but it depends on what game mode you're playing. In a 1v1, guns like this, not entirely useful, because it just costs a lot of money to set up a heavy artillery park to actually do any damage. You really need frontline units in a 1v1, that's right. Off-map is very used in 1v1s, is that you can just stress out a bunch of dudes and you can make a push, and you don't have to spend supplies and activation points buying supply trucks. Nice, because these heavy guns use up a lot of supply. In team games, however, this is definitely a very good unit to have, just because of the artillery spam nature of team games, especially 4v4s and 10v10s. And heck, you might be playing with someone who has a Western Front allied division, so you might have some more radio observers on the map to get those very vital, accurate shots, because if this thing can get accurate shots, it's a really good counter-artillery piece due to its, high explosive capabilities. It also has smoke, which is cool. Not a lot of the heavy howitzers on the Soviet side have smoke. It's not the most useful smoke layer. If you want something a bit more dedicated, you really should be using mortars for your smoke laying capabilities. And then you got the main gimmick of the unit, which is this is also a very effective anti-tank gun. There are other artillery guns that act as anti-tank with heat shells, but no, this is just a straight-up IS-2 gun without the IS-2. It's very powerful. It will blow up anything that you come across. The main problem, of course, is you only got 4 shots, so you really have to make it count. It's not a lot of ammunition. If you're gonna be using this on the front line as an anti-tank gun, bring a supply truck, you will need it, but you won't regret it because it will blow anything up. And heck, if you need to use it as a direct fire support gun, you can use it too. It's essentially a really big ZIS-3 gun, all things considered. In terms of actual usefulness in the divisions, it depends whether you're playing a team match or not, honestly, just because of you want heavy artillery usually in a team match. However, for 9th Guard Cavalry, this is definitely a very good unit to have in a 1v1, as you don't have a lot of heavy anti-tank in general with 9th Guard, so having some makeshift anti-tank guns of this caliber on the front line can definitely help out, as your little Shermans aren't going to be penetrating any Tigers or Panthers. 84th Guard, it's okay with that division. You already have IS-2s, so you don't really need it for the anti-tank role, so it really is just left as a artillery gun. It's a very interesting gun, all things considered, the A-19, as it can fill a multitude of roles. It's not the best thing in the world, and the anti-tank usage is a bit gimmicky per se, but it works, and it works nicely if used correctly. And well, I'm going to leave it off at that. This has been another Rank Rouge Unit of the Week. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as usual, please just take it easy.